Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over what it takes to remove a clutch as well as install a new clutch. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off this Zenoah stock clutch and install a CY clutch. You're going to need a couple things. You'll need a spark plug wrench. You'll need a 14mm socket. You'll need a 10mm socket. It is advised that you have a piston stop tool or something similar, flywheel puller or a clutch puller, because we're also going to change the clutch plate. So the first thing is you're just going to take out the spark plug and twist this off with the wrench. Set that aside where it's going to be clean. Piston stop tool. What this does is this keeps the clutch from rotating. Next thing is you're going to get your 14mm wrench, remove those clutch bolts. And then make sure to get the other side. Now when you take off a clutch, you're going to see that there's a couple different pieces of hardware. So there's, sitting behind the clutch shoes are these two flat washers that are shims. So those sit behind the shoe. On the bolt itself, there's these special washers called a Belleville washer. And these are just kind of like a little bent washer. It's a spring washer. Now this part, what I want to say is, so if you're installing this engine into like a Losi 5 or a Desert Buggy XL or a Monster Truck XL, you're going to want to replace this piece as well. This is the clutch plate. You're going to replace it with a CY clutch plate. The reason for that is because the Zenoah one pushes the clutch shoes out further away from the engine by about 2mm. What that causes is the edge of the clutch shoe will actually dig into the clutch bell and bind. You're going to want to use the CY clutch plate. So we're going to take out this center bolt here. You'll use your 10mm wrench for that. Alright, so I actually found it a little bit easier to use a box wrench to get that center bolt will come out. The clutch plate is actually tapered to fit on the crankshaft. It presses onto the crankshaft and it just is held into place with friction. So in order to get that out, that's where we use this little puller tool, which comes in handy. So once you get your flywheel puller in place, what you'll do is you'll just tighten these bolts just a little bit at a time, and what will happen is it'll cause the mounting plate to just kind of pop off. It's a 5mm Allen wrench, so you just tighten a little bit. Right there, I already felt a little pop. Take the whole piece off just like that. And so this is the CY clutch mounting plate. So this just fits onto the end of the shaft there. You use the countersunk bolt. That's a 4mm Allen wrench. So we'll just, with the piston stopper still in place, just go ahead and get that tightened in. Now you just need to get it snug, and what that will do is that will set the clutch mounting plate onto the motor. You can put a little bit of blue thread lock on there if you like. I personally don't. Because we're going to assemble our clutch shoes. So a lot of times you'll get shoes that are in pieces like this, and then you'll get a spring. What's pretty simple is you'll see these little arrows on the clutch shoe right there. And those go towards the outside of the engine. So it's really simple. And then you got your clutch spring here. So the clutch hooks go in towards the motor. And the way that you get these to line up is you do this, and then it's pretty simple. You'll just take this and go, just kind of line it up, give it a little twist, just like that. Now this is the important part, is that there's two different types of bolts. So there's a bolt that uses an Allen wrench head and a bolt that uses a socket head. Socket head bolts like this are for Zenoahs. Ones that use an Allen wrench or a Torx bit, that's for a Chung Yang. You can tell the difference between them by the thickness of the collar. This is a CY bolt. This is the Zenoah clutch we just took off. It doesn't fit. It won't fit because it's too thick. Zenoah bolts for a Zenoah clutch. CY bolt fits the CY clutch. What you'll need to do next is you'll need to install the spring washers. And what you'll do is, so the spring, it has a shape like this. The downside goes towards the clutch shoes. So this sits on there like that. So you got your spring washers installed. You got your clutch shoe with the arrows facing out. That slides on there. This slides on there. Flip it over. Take your flat washer and on there. This all goes back onto the clutch. This is a 5mm size Allen wrench. Get your final torque. Take out the piston stop tool. Take your spark plug, reinstall it. Get a good snug. Cap back on. You're set.